All right, today I'm going to show you how to take your artwork from sketch to vector in under 8 minutes. So as always, when I do these illustrations, I try to start off with an outline. The reason why I create an outline around the entire piece, because later on you'll see I can duplicate that vector and then turn it into an outline when I start to do the color. It's a trick I've been using for a long time, and I find it really effective. You know, now it's like really in the beginning of it, you want to have an idea of what you want to do in terms of laying out your lines. What I tend to do is I try to base, there's like a mathematical formula that I use, is whatever the outline is, then I divide it by two, going down deeper and deeper. So the outline, say the outline is a 10-point vector, then I break that down when I go inside to being like a 5. And then when I go inside even smaller and thinner, I may make it like a 2 or 3, maybe 2.5, depending on the mood or how it feels when I start to lay it out. And that allows me to get a nice contrast between the line weights of the outlines and the interior details. It's really hard to make good details with really thick lines. And that's just something I've been using for a long time, and I've been perfecting it, and it's really working out. Now this is getting into creating the details of the microphone, which was very difficult. I went through 2 or 3 different versions of this. That is the best way to do it, which is basically creating a grid of lines coming across, duplicating it, rotating to the right place, and then getting to the right space. Creating the eyes, I got a whole tutorial on how I do my eyes, which you can check out. I didn't do the full technique, but I used most of it. And see, just right there, I took the outline that I created in the beginning, like I mentioned before, and duplicated that to fill it in. It's a quick way instead of having to redraw the whole outline, And I should do a tutorial on how I do hair and like both facial hair and normal hair, because I have my own techniques for that, which is I find interesting. Maybe you'll find it. Maybe not. I don't know. Now, this is a new thing I'm starting to do. Also, is coloring the outlines instead of just having all black. I'm trying to create color versions of the outlines to give it just a little bit more life and kind of pull it out of the idea of it's like a cartoon comic book and more closer to realism, but it's more, again, like I don't really believe in realism as like perfect facsimile of life, but more of a believable a believable idea of the world that this illustration takes place in. That gray ring that you see me place is there to give me an idea of where the lighting is going to fall, because it's supposed to be emanating out from the microphone. So once I have an idea of what that is, I can start to build the lighting of the piece around that, because that's the focal point of the light. So then once you understand where your light is coming from, you can start to you can start to align things to that to make it believable in the sense of where this image, the subject is being portrayed in. And since the light is coming from below, everything that all the light is going to create shadows on the backside of whatever the subject is. So like right here, you see that's the light from behind the shirt, and light's coming up his face. So underneath his nose is light, the bottom parts of his lips are going to be bright. Light coming from the shot, from the mic is hitting his shoulder, so the back of the shoulder is going to have all the dark tones, and that's the type of things you got to kind of think about when you're doing any type of lighting, and trying to figure out where it's going to hit in relation to where the body is, what the subject is, and what also just looks good, And I know this video is flying, it's going pretty fast, but the thing is, it's like my illustrations take anywhere between like 3 and 10 hours, depending on what it is and how much detail I need to go in it. So I can't put 10 hours of me drawing slowly on YouTube, and nobody's gonna really want to sit to watch that. So it's going pretty fast. So now I'm starting to hit the lighting coming from it. I already have an idea of what the light source is going to be. When I go into illustrations, I already have an idea of what the colors are going to be before I start working. So like this is kind of like a homage. Like the reference is Green Lantern. So with that in mind, I knew the light was going to be green, so I started to work in those colors early. And like I said, like the color was coming up, so it's emanating out from the mic, so everything is going to hit the bottom of the facial features and his face and his shirt and his hands and all stuff like that. These bubbles are what they call Kirby Crackle. It's a reference to a style that was created by Jack Kirby for Marvel Comics, and basically it's just a bunch of circles that create an energy-like source. And instead of doing that 4 million times, I did one group and then I duplicated it within a mask that's going to represent the light source. And as I do it, like right now, I'm going through different color layers. I took a green block and I put it and masked inside the shape of J. And then that's when I started going through different color blending layers to see which one would work best to give me the right type of light source. And when I finally did find the one that I wanted to use, what I did was I started to create a transparency, a radial transparency to give the effect of the light emanating out from the mic and onto his skin. And what I'm starting to do now a lot is I color the whole illustration from start to finish in a light that I want. So I get the skin tones, I get the light reflections, and then overlay that with colors that reflect the background, because it's the light of the environment reflecting onto the subject, so that it becomes this more believable thing than just working in green. Like if I just colored him green from the start, it wouldn't have the same effect that it does as the light. It wouldn't be as believable, you know. And even here, like I'm trying to make sure that there is some type of reflection on the light of the microphone, because all this light is bouncing around. That's a metal object. It's going to have some type of light on it, you know. So I wanted to make sure that was important there. And now I'm trying to find something to contrast everything else to pop that microphone out to the front, which is why it ended up being like this red color. And that's it. Like this is pretty much done now. I'm just adding like little final stuff, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know if you have any questions. Peace.